Don't edit that part out either, because I love that the Vayner Nation's going to hear that you messed up and stopped it too soon. What's that? Oh, you didn't have that part either? Oh, you're really killing me. All right, ready? On this episode, I answer a bunch of questions, but the funny part is, they're here. You keep asking questions, I'll keep trying to answer them. Hey everybody, this is Gary Vaynerchuk, and you're watching episode 26 of the Ask Gary V Show. Fun fact about the number 26 is it's this man's best favorite number. Hey everybody, it's me, as you can tell, different setting. As you can tell, I am actually in New York City on an all-day event, speaking with Seth Godin and Dave Ramsey at an event. And so I decided to mix it up and bring people backstage in the green room with me. This room's actually green, which kind of makes it funny, and have them ask the questions. So let's just get right into it. Get in here.
All right.
Tell the Vayner Nation who you are.
Garrett Green from Nashville, Tennessee. Wanted to ask, you talk a lot about challenging the main media source in your business. I know you brought up like companies creating a golf website.
Mm-hmm.
It takes on Golf Digest, and then every once in a while has a sponsored post. And I know you've done it with Cheese Rank. For smaller companies, they don't have all the resources for editors and content creators and such. What do you recommend for them? Is this, you think this is kind of the next evolution? It's going to become more of a product people use?
Thanks for the question. It's a great question. Yeah, I mean, look, this is what I believe in. And for small businesses, I recommend doing what I did in 2006, which was, look, there's a difference between BuzzFeed and Seth Godin's blog, right? There's a lot more content every day. There's a lot more stuff. But Seth puts out his best effort once a day. For me, I did a wine show. I mean, it's what I'm doing right now. I mean, in theory, I could staff up even more than D-Rock and Stunwin and put out Q&A shows all day long. Go the Oprah model and have people underneath me. There's a lot of ways to go. But if you believe in what I believe in, which is every business is becoming a media company, all of a sudden, you're taking hours away from staffing, strategizing, selling, all the other things you're doing, and you're putting 1, 2, 3 hours into becoming a media company, and I do believe that has enormous upside. I mean, not much has changed for me since I viewed the world in 2009 and wrote Crush It. The only thing that's changed is I'm even more confident I was right, because there's more of that happening. I mean, look at the average the things I wrote about in 2009 that people thought were ridiculous, like, you know, a 15-year-old's gonna have more people that they think are famous on YouTube than in real life. That's now happening. You know, if anybody has 15-year-olds, let them in. If anybody has 15-year-olds in their lives, hey, Dame, you need me now? I'm taping a show. Do I have time?
Yeah. No, you're fine. I was coming to ask about this if you wanted the guys to be a part.
Yeah, I'm in great. Oh, those guys, the guys, I will, but let me bang out this show. You know you're not editing. So to me, I would just say, if you believe in it and you don't have the resources, then respect your belief and put in your time and actually do it versus all the other things you could be doing.
Awesome.
Thanks, brother. Next, let's go. Tell the Vayner Nation who you are.
Nathan Ruff, thenathanruff.com. I own a web design development company called 19 and a social
Nice
media
plugging, nice
called
plugging. Tiger, love it, love the plug. Go ahead,
The
Nathan.
question is, I feel like a lot of small businesses fail because they refuse to accept.
Dude, who are you asking the question of? Like the Vayner Nation or me? Let's go. Go ahead.
I feel like a lot of small businesses fail because they refuse to accept what they're not good at. For example, I suck at accounting, so I have somebody do accounting for me, but I see people, you know, they suck at photography, but they're still doing their photography and it's hurting their brand.
Yeah.
They're not accepting that.
Okay.
What is your thoughts on that?
Cool, thank you. I mean, again, as somebody who's been following my stuff, I think we agree on this, right? Like, I'm a big fan of going all in on your strengths and outsourcing or not focusing on your weaknesses. I think you've got it pegged right. I think the one thing is, sometimes it's obvious, right? Don't get caught in the obvious, meaning it's obvious to you that you suck at accounting. It's kind of easy, right? It's math, like, you probably also don't wanna or like doing it. That's easy. It's the thing that's in the shadows that's not as obvious. There's something you're doing right now that a lot of people could do better than you. It's easy when you're an F at it and you know you need an A. But what about the fact that you might be doing something right now at Tiger or somewhere else where you're a B at it, but you could afford to have somebody be an A at it? That's where people miss the mistake. So it takes deep self-awareness. You know, I'm not a big believer in like, try harder to be better at this thing. I think it's a waste of resources, energy, and happiness often. Now, if you get off on that kind of thing, like persevering, knock yourself out, roll how you want to roll. But for me, big believer, I'm betting on all your strengths and trying to find complements to your weaknesses.
How would you,
a new one for Ask Gary Vee. Like, this is cool. When they're live, they can get to follow up.
how would you bring it up? Like, people with a terrible website, doesn't even work on a mobile device, and they're just not getting it. Do I just accept that, okay, they're not going to get it and walk away? Or how would you bring up saying, hey, you're not really good at
Now you're asking me a sales question, I think, right? Like, are you saying to reach out to somebody and say, hey, we should do that for you?
No, even like from just a helping, providing value. Like, hey, you're not good at this. I don't think my company's the right fit, but you're not good at this. I'm just telling you, like,
one of the things that I do, one of the things I do tactically is just call people out on it, right? Like, I'll reply to them publicly on Twitter and say, hey, you just tweeted wrong. Here's the, my classic, like, everybody does this wrong on Twitter. I'm not scared to do, my route is simple. Polite, polite, polite. You're not getting it, and I still care enough, which is very rare, then I'm going to drill you in your face. Thanks, man. Enjoy. Next, let's go. I like this. I like this, D-Rock.
I like it. I agree.
All right, my name is Nick Parks, and Gary, I'm just curious. So let's say if you were just born to be an entrepreneur. That's just what you do. And I'm sure
I believe in that.
Well, until you're an entrepreneur like that, you're not going to be fulfilled. You're not going to be happy. But
talk to me about my first 18 years of my life.
Yeah, so that's my question. Like, at what point are you being fiscally responsible, and at what point is it just like analysis paralysis, where you think, well, I can't go into it full time yet. I still need a full time job.
That's a tough question. I now I understand what you're saying. So are you saying, let me make sure I dissect this properly. For people like me that happen to feel that they are that and then happen to be good at it, it's easy, right? Because it worked out. Are you asking me if you feel like you're an entrepreneur, but you're not good enough to be an entrepreneur that can sustain a lifestyle where you have to balance something else, what do you do?
Maybe.
Or do you keep trying, or are you asking, actually I apologize because now I'm recalibrating, how long can I go at it as thinking I'm an entrepreneur until I have to wake up and say, wait a minute, am I tricking myself, and let me get a little more practical and jump off that train?
I mean more like, let's say you have a full-time job and it's good pay, good benefits and all that.
If you have a full-time job, you're not an entrepreneur. So you have to understand, that is a very important part here, right? Mm-hmm. You may have entrepreneurial tendencies, you may have aspiration to be an entrepreneur, but when you are an entrepreneur, you can't breathe having a job. You can't breathe. You have to understand, you can't breathe. Now look, maybe I'm the extreme of it. But, the fact is, especially right now, and especially if I'm guessing at some level, this is for you, not your friend kind of thing, or it might be friend, or it might be general. You're so young that you have so much less risk than like, when you're 18 to 29 in America today, by all standards, to me, that's your time to, if you're an entrepreneur, you're being an entrepreneur. Right, if you're ready and willing to take a job, then you have entrepreneurial tendencies. And that's the thing you have to figure out. But to me, there is no such thing as an under 30-year-old entrepreneur that has a job. It doesn't exist.
All right, thanks.
All right, man, thanks. Chef, get in here. You notice her from the comments section. She's always there.
Hey guys, Chef Lizette.
All right, calm down.
Oh.
All right, promote.
Hey, Chef Lizette at Chef Lizette 1.
All right.
Anyways, so, I want to piggyback on that because you were capturing a certain demographic and age group. So I want to represent all of those who are a little bit older. I mean, so I'm asking it for them.
Okay.
People who already have kids, financial commitments, homes, mortgages, blah, blah, blah. So when you keep talking about how do you audit your time, how do you analyze what character traits, can you speak to the older folks between the 30s, 50-somethings?
Okay.
How to go out and make it happen, or analyze, do you really have what it takes? Because at this point, these folks probably have 10 plus 15 years of experience in their endeavors already.
The one thing I think, thanks, Chef. The one thing that I think is interesting is, let's break down the question a little bit differently, which is, there's a level of never being able to fully make it, but still being in a process where you enjoy the effort to get there. This is not an all-sum game. I'm okay with somebody being a nuanced entrepreneur where there's a full-time job and they're trying to make it happen, and that almost, because what happens is you're almost talking about being an entrepreneur as a hobby there. Right? It almost takes on, this is something, and I just got goosebumps, so I'm starting to get into a new thing that I'm trying to figure out how to articulate. I'm doing it here out loud for the first time, which is, when does entrepreneurship, or going for it, take on more fun, whether it's very practical because you're asking for the 35 to 55-year-old demo, or when you're still under 30, in your 20s, but you've confided into or picked a job route. When is it actually in hobby land?
Exactly.
When is it like you like having your side hustle and you're enjoying it, but it doesn't need to or have to become your life, and you don't have to make a billy for you to be happy? So what I would say is, if you're up at night and you can't breathe and you have to do your thing, well, then you just might not be good enough. I mean, think about all the people we've seen on American Idol who are like, I grew up my whole life and I knew I was going to be Whitney Houston. You're all pumped. You're like, back when people watched it, you know, and you're like, you can do it. And then she's like, and you're like, no. And like, it's delusional.
Right.
Well, we have that in entrepreneur land.
Exactly.
I get emails every day. I meet people every day who are delusional about their skill set. I desperately, desperately, desperately want to be the small forward of the New York Knicks. If I truly acted on that, like if right now at 38, I'm like overseas trying to be on the 13th man on the bench of an Italian B-League team, that's not going to work, right? Like it's not going to happen no matter what I do. And so I think the answer to your question for me, to make it as valuable for them as possible, is are you willing to get comfortable in accepting that you're in hobby zone versus transitioning into that zone? And if you are, well then in a weird way, back to your question, these tie in, you can have a best of both worlds.
Right.
If you're asking me like how to get somebody to become self-aware enough and not delusional that they're hurting themselves, that's not something I know how to really fully answer.
Cool.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Do you want to jump in on the show? I know you came in late.
Okay. Great.
You want to take a selfie real quick?
Yes,
Let's do
I was
it.
actually
Hold
gonna
on, everyone.
ask you.
Don't edit, D-Rock. All right, you got it?
How's my fro?
You look amazing.
Good, thank you.
Oh, you did it. You
Yeah,
really know what you're doing.
definitely.
Love it. All right. Tell everybody, tell Vayner Nation who you are.
Hi, Vayner Nation. I'm Allie DeCastro at Miss Allie D on Twitter. So my question is, I'm actually really glad I'm asking it one-on-one and not in front of the audience, and now that it's being filmed, my audience is way huger, so way more huge. So I have a job that I absolutely love. I actually work for Remax of New Jersey.
Cool.
You spoke for us
Yep.
pretty much right before I got hired, so I just missed you. I love my job. I love what I do. I do social media and graphic design. I work with our SEO company. We develop content. And of course, I want to get into doing my own thing, doing my own blog, starting my own hustle. And I have this, and I know it stems from a fear of failure, but I have this really hard time. I get like crippled when it comes to like executing. And I know you're probably just going to be like, just do it, them, go for it, do your thing. And I know
me
what
so
you're going to
well.
say, but I just need to hear it. Like, I need you to look me in my face and tell me what I should do.
Do you want it?
Yes, I do.
And so literally you're just scared to fail? I mean, if you want to go deep with me, I'll go deep.
Okay.
It's who are you scared to fail in front of? Is it your mom? Is it your best friend? Is it your sister?
Okay.
That's the only thing that holds people back. Something happened to me, like everybody thinks like, oh, I'm so nice, look at what I'm doing right now. Truth is, I don't give a shit about anybody else's opinion so rawly that I'm never scared, because if I fail and people are like, see, ha ha ha, I'm like, it doesn't even register. It doesn't, in the same way when people are like, you changed my life, you're the best, I'm able to be grounded because it also doesn't, I'm kind of in that middle zone, right? Like not too high, not too low, which would confuse people based on my energy, but I equally care about every comment in the YouTube section of this episode. I'm gonna read them. But if somebody says, you blow, and like, this format stinks, and you should let D-Rock edit, it's gonna be okay. Like, and so, if you wanna get deep with me, I know for fact that because you've already given it to me, that it's the fear of failure. Now the question becomes to whom? And what I would do is, and you don't have to share that with the world, I'd go talk to that person up front. The best practical advice I've ever given in this scenario, and it works over and over, is you go and you sit down with dad and say, or Johnny, or your boyfriend, or your sister, or your girlfriend, I don't care who it is, right? You sit down and you look them in the face and say, I'm about to do this, and the only reason I haven't done it for the last year is I don't want to let you down. Because entrepreneurship is a crapshoot, and I'm not sure if I'm going to win, but long term, I'm going to win. And I just need to make sure if I fail on this step, that your response to me doesn't crush me to never let me have a second at bat. Because that's what it is.
Okay.
Right?
Yes.
That's it.
All right, cool.
All right, cool.
Thanks, Gary.
You got it. All right, everybody, thank you so much for watching this improv. Show them. They look so cool. This looks really cool. Thanks for watching episode 26. Question of the day. You know what? You really inspired me with that question. That got really weird. I don't know if the camera caught the little tearing, but that was fun for me. And that was like, yeah, it was really, you know what? I'm glad. I thank you so much, because that's a piece of advice I've never shared with my audience. I've shared it privately, but like that's why this show is like what I want, like this is why you guys are massively helping me, because a lot of you, I'm over here. you guys are helping me massive. I just want you guys to know this too, because you're getting new stuff out of me because you're making me more creative by asking these things. So I'm gonna ask that. Who's that person in your life right now that you so desperately don't want to let down, that you admire and love so much that it may be holding you back from somebody or something, excuse me. I want you to leave that in the comments, because I have a funny feeling if you leave that comment, it may start the process to a very, very good thing. You keep asking questions, I'll keep answering them.